You wake up in the morning, you get dressed, you eat breakfast, you go to work, you come home, you go to sleep, and you do it all again the next day. Morning becomes noon, noon becomes night, days become weeks, and weeks become months, and months become years, and time slips by and moves forward. You go from a young child, enjoying life and trying to figure out what it all means, to an old man unsure if you ever figured anything out. All in the space of existence that is less than a blink in the universe's existence. Thus is the passage of time. Or is it? What is really happening? What is time at all in the first place? Time is something that we all seem to take for granted and just accept as part of life. Something we have no control over. That ticks onward in the face of war, destruction, and extinction, for which all material and matter are intricately tied to, and thus for which all of existence is intricately tied to. It is hard to understand how time could possibly be an illusion, given how much emphasis and authority we put on time, given how much of our lives and our actions revolve around its existence. It is very much through our ability to understand that there is a future that we then can plan for it. Though this experience isn't just a human one, what we're able to do with the planning of the future has helped many people transform their lives and sometimes even the world. And yet for most people, planning for the future becomes a burden for them. For all their happiness, their peace, their comfort is attached to the outcome that will happen in the future. And when they arrive, even when they get what they want, suddenly a feeling surfaces of dissatisfaction, as now they're looking to the future again for what next is to come. Or, with our ability to learn from our past, to study what we did wrong, comes the ability to rapidly improve our skills. But rather than being on a constant state of improvement, always learning from what we experienced yesterday, often we're dragged down with the negative memories and thoughts and feelings of the past. For all the good our ability to learn from the past is, and to plan for the future, it is the greatest truth. The only life truly lived is the life lived right now. For though we may try to exercise control over our futures, or gain knowledge to better our lives through our past, none of that is the true experience of the world. It is, in the end, a fictional existence, one that is based on the concept that the future and the past are actual things. But in truth, they are just concepts of reality that our brain creates narratives around to create the experience of cause and effect. There is no past. There is no future. There is only the now, only this, the present moment. You may think to yourself that it flies in the face of what you experience in the world, because after all, we experience time every solitary moment of every solitary day. But do we really? Do we actually know that we are experiencing time? Do we know anything that we're actually experiencing? See the spiraling image on the screen? A swirling maelstrom of different colors melting into each other? In truth, there is no such thing as color in the universe. Colors only exist in our brain and are formed by the way our brain processes wavelengths. Time as well can be distorted and altered in our mind, and thus a person's perception of time can be altered. That which they thought will have come first was actually last. That which they thought was a minute was actually an hour. That which they thought was an hour was actually only a few minutes. Our minds are what we use to perceive reality in all its forms. But in that, reality then becomes a product of our minds. And we're never interacting or engaging with the truth of reality, but always with the idea of reality, with our own experiences of reality as we see it and experience it through our minds. Time then becomes part of that very same product of creation. It is our brains that tell us that things are changing and moving, that we are starting at one point and ending up in another point. It is our brains that are showing us a shape of the world, a color and textual experience of the world, all of which are photons bouncing into our retinas and turning into information that the brain then interprets into reality. Textures are just the sensations our brains interpret through nerves, when in truth, we are never touching anything. Electrons are simply pressing against electrons, repelling one another, but you are touching nothing. There is no past. There is no future. There's only this moment, taking form and shape right now and at this instant. much like the diffusion generation that generative AI creates. Each movement, each changing and shifting scene is built off the last scene as it tries to figure out what the next logical step in the process is. This too is how our reality forms in front of us in many ways, always taking shape and form. Our brains latching on to the last thing it perceived and filling in the blanks. Our minds never truly seeing the world as it is, but as it thinks it is. Always manifesting the reality through its perceptions. Always building the narrative of time through its thoughts. Convincing us in this process that this life that we are experiencing is happening on a forward push of time. That the world we're engaging with is a real and physical realm. And that neither of these things are just our thoughts and perceptions, except they are. Time is an illusion. There is only this moment, right here and right now. There is only this experience. There's only this happening. Nothing has come before it. Nothing will come after it. Everything is always just taking shape and form inside the eternal now. The now isn't some moment sandwiched between the past and the future. It is not some structure that occurs piece by piece thousands or millions of times a day. The now is eternal, and it is all that is, never being anything else. When you escape the boundaries of how your mind has interpreted the world, and stop attaching yourself to the interpretation of the reality of the world, then it becomes clear. Just as you close your eyes to go to sleep, and you open them feeling as if no time has passed. Or you find your mind occupied and distracted while driving, and you look up and realize that your 40-minute drive disappeared. Or you get sucked into a game, or into a date, or into anything that holds your attention and silences your thoughts. And suddenly, when you look around, it appears that all of time has moved on without you. But this is just the brain trying to catch up. This is just your mind stuck in its perception of the world, so strong that you observe time as past. But what is really past? Perception creates the physical world. Thinking creates time. And in that, we have the experience of life as we know it, in a physical world that is stuck moving forward continuously in the face of time's arrow. But when you begin to look beyond your mind, to live within the silence of your thoughts, when you allow the world to be what it is without trying to give it rhyme and reason, but instead fully and completely embrace this moment, embrace the now for which all things happen, the now for which everything is, the now for which is eternal and constant in all that we ever experience. When you step away from the mind, when you find the absolute awareness of you, the unchanging consciousness that has always been you, the consciousness that will never cease to be, no birth, no death, only this, only now, only this eternal moment and eternal experience. See through the illusion, see through all the illusions of your mind, and embrace the truth of existence. And in doing that, you will find a peace that you have never known possible. You will find a joy that you never imagined. And you will be free, truly free, from the bonds of suffering and the fear of death. All of this through seeing the truth, through realizing that all there is this moment, right here and right now. Understanding fully that the only life truly lived is the one lived right now. Hey, wait 1 second. I've got something big to share with you. Thanks for watching that video. If you made it this far, you hopefully enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed it, we put out one at least every other day. Hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notifications at the bottom of the video. And keep an eye out for the next video. Also, I'm building a community of people who want to transform their lives over a year. It's called the Cosmic Joke Challenge. If you want to find out what the Cosmic Joke Challenge is, you'll learn that and more in our 100% free Facebook group, which will be growing a library of content not available on YouTube. The link will be available in the description box below. Click it, join, and start transforming your life today.